stand and recite the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Ashley, can I have roll call, please?
Hidma.
Here.
Jurdy.
Here.
Fisher. Briggs.
Here.
Cavalier.
Here.
Kressel.
Here.
Clot.
Here.
Menard.
Here.
Okay, it's time for the open forum. Anyone would like to address council on any issue not already on tonight's agenda may come to the podium. State your first and last name and address, please. Okay, hearing nothing from the chambers. There's anyone on the phone bridge, Weston?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Agent logged off.
Okay, we have one presentation tonight regarding the Crookston Area Community Fund. Hi. Thank you for coming.
Thanks. So I had submitted some documents, granted it was a couple of weeks ago. Could we have those up? Oh, there they are. Excellent, didn't see it with this poll. Shirley Iverson, Crookston Area Community Fund, a couple of things we just wanted to bring you up to speed about things that we're working on. The Crookston Area Community Fund has been in place for a very long time and been able to distribute over $1.5 million back into the community of Crookston. A lot of that was raised in what's commonly called the Legacy Fund, but we'll get to that in a minute. We'll start with the piece of paper that has been projected up on the screen, and that is the financial statement as of January 25th, 2024, and that's for the entire fund. So the Crookston Area Community Fund has an endowment fund. So what that means is the money stays endowed, much like you would have at a university or a chair at a university or a program at a university. It's endowed, and then each year we're able to spend distributions from that fund, but the fund stays solid and whole in investment. And it's been invested, as you can see on this. The details are our net assets, our general spendable, the amount that stays within that fund. And so for our general spendable this year, we decided as a committee to be able to offer up grants for approximately half of that amount of funds. The rest will roll over for 2025, and if it is a great investment year, we will have additional funds. If it is not as great, we'll be able to use those funds to supplement the interest that's borne out of the account. So maybe we can just go on to the next one, and then I'll come back to this. I think that's all on that page. Did anyone have any questions about the endowment fund before I move on? Okay, the next page. This one is the one that's been extremely popular, and it's sometimes called the Legacy Fund. It's actually the Crookston Arena Fund or the Sports Center Fund. So when it was determined that on the Robert Street, where the very, very old, wonderfully loved arena needed to be torn down for some of our flood protection, and also the supplemental skating rink that was next to it needed to be torn down. There was a huge community drive to be able to build a very unique sports center out on the Bypass Road, or County Road 11, as we probably called it at the time. You all know that. You've been there a lot. There were funds that were paid directly to supplement the amount of money that came from both DNR or other sources of funds from the state. And that fund is what has distributed probably the most money directly back into the community. It currently, as of the date of this account, January 25th, has $155,000 in it. And one of the subcommittees that we work on is this fund can be added to, it can be spent, it is not endowed, to use the financial term. It's not an endowed fund. So if at any time you wanted to raise another $1 million within the community for a sports center, this would be an avenue to be able to do it. Things most recently that the fund has been used for after the arena was built is for the weight room equipment. That was approximately $12,000. We also were able to match for a Anaheim Duck Grant out of this fund to be able to get the no emission Zambonis that are in use. An additional expenditure out of this fund was for the golf simulator that used to be, well, is still at the sports center, though not operational at this time. And it also most recently purchased the removable portable flooring that was probably used for the CYBA this last weekend, as well as many other opportunities for parties, gatherings at the arena. So it's been very, very active, and to keep the arena going, what the mission of the Arena Fund is that it is not to provide maintenance or overhead, but it is to enhance the use of the arena for all members of the community. Yes, Delane?
So, question, if we wanted to, we've had an idea of putting a central air unit in the main arena part, would this be a fund that could probably be used for that? Because some of the, the issue is trying to hold more community events, especially in the summertime, and then, as you probably know, in the summertime when the events have been in there, it's been very hot. Mm-hmm. So is this probably a fund that could be used to possibly look at like air conditioning options for that?
I think you could look at the fund for a number of things. There is a small punch list, including having a more joint and foot happy walking path for all ages, so that people are not just walking or running on the direct cement, maybe utilizing something like similar to the Wellness Center at the university. But yes, there's a committee that could look at any of those things. They could raise additional money, but it's very, very clear that it is for enhanced use. So. Mm-hmm. And I'll be letting you know when the next meeting is in case you would like to join, but who is represented on the committee currently is Morgan, Dale, and Corky. And they are active in helping us look at the direction of the grants that we're going to be distributing. Is there one more page, I believe? Or maybe two? Thank you. Okay, this one is called the Crookston Park and Recreation Grant Fund. It has a very small amount in there. It is current, well, as of January, it was $280. You might be most familiar with this account. It was the one that was utilized for expenditures at the Splash Park. So money was raised, it was deposited, it was able to be tax deductible because it's a 501c3, and then it was dispersed for purchases for the Splash Park, including most recently the very big umbrellas that are up there for the bench seating. This is a fund that we could abolish. We could raise money into. Obviously, $280 is not going to go very far. So again, it's a decision as we move forward. It's focused on recreation, kind of a phrase that is hard to describe, but we all know it when we see it, and that is the livability of Crookston for members of Crookston of all ages and all household makeups. So this is the what we're currently in right now, and that is that we have guidelines for the application for grants. The grant applications can be as small as $500 or as large as $10,000, and we plan to distribute $25,000. The meeting is April 3rd. Grant requests are due April 1st. And I guess one of the things of talking to this group is to make sure that you will commit to getting out to eligible applicants, that they just have kind of one more week to apply for a grant. So eligible applicants are any government agency or any nonprofit. There's a nice paragraph there that's pretty wide open that it can be a project that addresses one of the following topics: education, economic development, healthcare, environment, recreation, cultural and community service. Grant applications can be turned in at City Hall. They can be emailed. They can be, the form can be downloaded through the Northwest Minnesota Foundation. You can also pick up a grant application. You can call us. There are just a number of ways. We're trying to make that as easy as possible for people to get the grant application. And the next one should be the grant application. So it's a fairly simple grant application. Again, they are due April 1st, and then we will be reviewing and making decisions on April 3rd. And the funds should be distributed within about 2 weeks of that point. The funds will be distributed out of Bemidji, which is where the account for the Northwest Minnesota Foundation is. It's kind of the overarching umbrella of which the Crookston Area Community Fund, amongst 7 other counties and a plethora of funds, are housed. These are some of the things that we're asking people about. What are some of the other sources of funding for the project that they're bringing forward? How does it enhance living in Crookston based on those multitude of topics that I just read off? So, do you have any questions about any other aspects of the grants or the fund?
Julie, can I just ask, so you kind of mentioned for the second one was more like arena focused and the third was more park and rec. That first fund, like what are some of the suggestions or what has it been used for in the past?
If there is an organization in Crookston, they have applied for this grant somewhere in the last 20 years, including the Villa, schools, mental health services. The list is huge, and I'd be happy to get back to you with some of those if you're interested in more information. But Builders Club, Terrific Kids, the Sunshine Center when it existed, for childcare, it's just early childhood initiative. It's really been a lot, and it has been a great way to get money back into our community.
Perfect, thank you.
But thanks, that's a great question. I did not bring the full list. It's pretty exhaustive after the amount of time that this fund has been in place, but it has been an excellent way to be able to support kind of grassroots organizations in Crookston. I guess just the last thing is maybe just to tell you, if you do get any kind of conversations from your constituents, we've had a couple of KROX news stories. We've done a press release to various print media throughout the region, including through the Northwest Minnesota Foundation. We've had the forms at City Hall, and I think we've just been on Valley Talk, and Corky talks about it at his administrator conversation on the radio. So I think the word is out there, but you know how it is when you throw a party, the next day everybody says, I wish I'd known about that. And so that is part of my motivation of coming before all of you, is just to kind of hit one more spot to say, I want to make sure everyone knows about this opportunity.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you, Shirley.
Thank you, Shirley.
Okay, this brings us to the agenda. Does anyone wish to add anything to tonight's agenda?
Your Honor, item 8.02, a resolution regarding the Clifton Larson Allen LLP providing assistance with respect to the finance director duties and responsibilities under the first whereas, which involves the period of March 1st, 2024 ongoing until terminated to the date, needs to be updated from March 1st to March 11th. I have updated the agenda on the city's website to reflect this requested change.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
So moved, Your Honor.
Thank you, Tim. Is there a second?
I'll second it, Your Honor.
Thank you, Clayton. Discussion? Hearing none, can I have roll call, please?
Hibma,
Aye.
Jerdy,
Aye.
Briggs,
Aye.
Cavalier,
Aye.
Kressel,
Aye.
Clot,
Aye.
Menard.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. No public hearings. This brings us to the regular agenda. Ashley, please.
Your Honor, you forgot the consent agenda.
Oh, sorry. Does anyone, this brings us consent agenda. Does anyone wish to remove anything from the consent agenda? I have a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda.
So moved, Your Honor.
Thank you,
Second.
Delane. Second by Don. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Hibma,
Aye.
Jerdy,
Aye.
Briggs,
Aye.
Cavalier,
Aye.
Kressel,
Aye.
Clot,
Aye.
Menard.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Now we move to the regular agenda.
Yes, Your Honor. Item 8.01 is a resolution regarding accepting the bids and awarding the contract for the 2024 street improvements.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve this resolution?
I'll make that motion, Your Honor.
Got a motion by Don. Is there a second?
I'll second it, Your Honor.
And a second by Clayton. Thank you. Discussion?
As you recall, we had sent out for bids on 3 projects here in Crookston. And we have those bids now. We have our city engineer, Rich Clausen, to bring us up to date on the bids and what it might mean for us.
Yes, thank you. We received 3 bids, Spruce Valley, RJ Zavril, and Knife River Materials. Spruce Valley was the low bidder at $1,149,801. That's the construction dollars, construction cost now. My estimate was $1,251,712.50. So the low bidder was about 9% under my estimate, which is good news. The prices came in quite nicely. Even the second low bidder was about 4% under my estimate. So I think we got some good prices this year, and I would recommend moving forward with Spruce Valley.
Spruce Valley's done work for us in the past.
Yep, they had the 3 projects last year here in town that they still need to finish up, so I think that's why they were aggressive on it. They knew they were gonna be here in town, and so,
Thanks, Rich.
you're welcome. Thank you.
Further discussion? Hearing none, can I have roll call, please?
Hibma,
Aye.
Jerdy,
Aye.
Briggs,
Aye.
Cavalier,
Aye.
Kressel,
Aye.
Clot,
Aye.
Menard.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
Item 8.02 is a resolution regarding Clifton Larson Allen LLP providing assistance with respect to the finance director duties and responsibilities.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved, Your Honor.
Thank you,
Second.
Tim, and Don second. Thank you. Discussion?
Yes, with respect to this, we changed the date to March 11th. That was the resignation date from Audrey Pesa. And we have been in consultation with Clifton Larson about the possibility of them assuming these duties on a temporary basis. The individual who would be chiefly in charge of this, Michelle at Clifton Larson, had been working with Audrey prior to Audrey's resignation. She is very familiar, well, as familiar as she can be with our financial processes. She indicated to me in our discussions that there would be some time spent here in person, and also then, as much as is possible, would be done remotely. There would be an assistant with her. I believe his name is Lance. He would be involved as a supportive person, someone who would also assist in these preparations. And she indicated that as of right now, we're still on track to meet the June 30th deadline for our audit preparation and submission. But she wants to get started if this is what you all approve. I've dealt with her almost daily since the 11th. She's very aggressive, very knowledgeable in my opinion, and she is familiar with our systems. And I think she would do a good job for us along with Lance.
Where are we at on hiring permanent staff?
Well, I was going to cover that in my report, but I can tell you now, we have put that out. The advertisement was out a week ago, and to date, we have 2 applicants. We're looking to fill this or analyze applications on April 16th. And we will keep working on getting applicants, and if we don't get more than the 2, and I think we will, we'll try some different approaches.
So we're looking for a finance director,
Yes.
and are we looking for a senior accountant?
I don't think we're looking for a senior accountant. We have an accountant on staff now who is really an asset. She is very knowledgeable. She came from another community, and she has a wide variety of abilities, which she's shown us in the last 2 weeks about taking over all of the responsibilities of an accountant. She's helped us.
What's her qualifications?
Well, she has a BA, I believe, in accounting. She also has years of experience with the auditor's office in Red Lake County, and then years of experience, I want to say,
Thief River.
8 years in Thief River Falls, as the same position.
She's at HR.
And she was also human resources in Thief River Falls, but she does not wish to undertake that here.
So other than that, you feel that's enough after it's all said and done with to have our finance department fully staffed?
Well, one of the questions and one of the things that we will be talking with Michelle from Clifton Larson is that exact question. When she comes in, functions as she will, does she believe that we are sufficiently staffed with what we have now if we fill the finance director? I think getting her in here and analyzing that will be very, very helpful.
And I included in your discussions with Michelle Corky, are you also talking about outsourcing payroll?
Yes, yes. We prior to both Jordan and Audrey leaving, we were in discussions with one provider who had initiated this and who was going to be meeting with Jordan and Audrey about specifics, and then we are also having consultations with our various departments about their specific needs relative to outsourcing payroll.
I
But
think
that's,
yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, Christie.
I just also wanted to make sure, because my understanding too was having them initially come in was also addressing some of the concerns with the prior audit and that best practices were going to be put into place with new processes. So I'm assuming that's still in process.
absolutely.
And can
still,
we
right?
actually get like a clear understanding of like what those new processes are that are being put into place? We have a better understanding of like what was suggested by the auditor and what's been addressed.
Sure. Once Michelle is here and we go through them, I don't think there'll be any problem with her articulating and us providing you an outline or bullet points.
Well, the part I'm kind of not clear on is when we're going through the budget process, I asked Audrey, do you feel that you're appropriately staffed? And she said, no. So I'm just wondering why, that was when she had everybody in place. Plus the Clifton Larson, I think, was coming in at that time as well. So why?
Yeah, I don't know if everybody was in place then, because we just had, Holly's been only here for 2 weeks.
Okay.
Well, and also, Delane, I think this also, her answer was in reaction to the fact that they were already so behind. And so I don't know if it's necessarily that we need additional, and I think that's something that this agency can assist with, and truly understanding what that is, and even just the competencies that Michelle may have that we would be looking for in that next director that maybe our former staff didn't have. So I think that maybe those decisions to be made once we have a little bit more of an educated understanding with the appropriate individuals in place.
Yeah, I agree with that, but it just seems like I don't know, I just want to make sure we get fully staffed to what we need instead of finding out June, July, we need another person, and it's just, it seems like now is the time to be advertising for that if we need it.
Absolutely, And Michelle indicated she would be coming initially here, and that certainly is a question you all raised. We've raised it internally. Yes. Are we appropriately staffed after she's had the option of looking at where we are as best she can and telling us?
Because, I mean, I do think some of the problems that we've had and some of the reasons why we're in this situation throughout history of our finance department is we haven't been appropriately staffed for a very long time. And I think whoever the finance director was at any given time has just been trying to keep their head above water the whole time. So I think we need to try to,
I can assure you that will be addressed.
okay,
In fact, we've talked about it already with Michelle coming in as a pair of eyes from the outside with her assistant. Tell us what would be the best idea for us, given what you know about us.
And I would also push back and say not necessarily always appropriately staffed, but with the right people with the right knowledge base. So,
I think all that will be addressed as far as we get the right people in the right position here once Michelle comes in and kind of has an oversee of what we're trying to accomplish here, so. Further discussion? Hearing none, can I have roll call, please?
Hibma,
Aye.
Jurdy,
aye.
Briggs,
Aye.
Cavalier,
Aye.
Kressel,
Aye.
Clot,
I,
Menard.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. All right, this brings us to reports. Corky, please.
Busy, busy, busy 2 weeks. Let me bring you up to date on the positions. IT, Councilmember Hibman and I interviewed 3 candidates.
And marketing, not IT.
What's that?
Marketing, not IT.
Oh, I'm sorry. We'll go with
I was
IT
not
first.
involved in IT.
IT first. We did have 8 candidates who submitted resumes. I went over them with both Zach and Weston, the block, over the resumes. A number of them were software engineers. But there were a number that are appropriate, and we will be using Weston and Zach and someone from the county, as well as myself, questions prepared regarding IT interview, and that'll be the first week of April. We already have one set up for April 3rd. Yeah, the candidates come from far and wide, in fact, worldwide. We have one candidate who's out of the country who's interested.
So can I clarify the person that you have from the county? Do you have somebody that's actually like very knowledgeable in the content area of IT? That, I mean, I know you had said that Chad had prepared some questions for you, but anybody could be BSing you if you don't understand like the ins and out
I am
of.
going to be meeting with the county administrator to see if we can get on board for the questioning the IT person at the county as well. Because they deal with almost all the same issues we do, and we will also be using Darren, because it's really important with the law enforcement that they have a working knowledge of that as well.
So, go ahead.
Finance director, we've had 2 applicants. It's open till filled, but we hope to use April 16th as the date we start initiating a review of those, and we'll be coordinating with Michelle to be one of the participants, if she's able, in that analysis and interviews, if any are set up.
So are we then going to have council members then on those interviews as well?
You'll have one on, I don't know if you want to be on IT, we can certainly have one, and one on the finance director.
I don't think that would hurt.
It's been brought up, so I think we'll move forward with having a council member
Even 2 for that matter.
on the
Wouldn't
interview
hurt.
with IT and finance. I also kind of mentioned at one time to Corky that if it's a possibility for the finance director, if If we could get someone from Ellers to maybe zoom in as far as the conference call, or, you know, as, when we do the interviews. I think there's some knowledge there that would be helpful. So, and Corky said he would look into it.
Human Resources, we've had 2 applicants so far, and we will use April 19th as a possible final deadline, but it's open till filled as well. We do have a marketing coordinator. That person will start April 1st. The biggest obstacle right now is configuring where that individual will be stationed, what type of equipment that person will need to complete those duties. Morgan, I'll see you after council to talk about that a little bit more. City Administrator, we've had 17 applicants to date. I spoke with our representative at Baker Tilly on Friday. That was one more than you may have seen if you pulled up the information. Some of those do not actually meet the qualifications, but we don't have a breakdown on those yet. An updated timeline I thought I might have today, but it should be here sometime this week, and that'll always be available to you online. If you don't get it, let me know. But we've had some good discussions, Patty and I, about the qualifications here and her desire to place someone here, and there'll be an amended timeline for you all to see when she creates that.
So are we like just like a week behind? How far behind are we?
I do not know that answer. When I spoke with Patty on Friday, I had the same 16 that you did, and it said to be determined, and she didn't have that for me at that time. She did indicate that she was seeking some additional applicants, personally calling them, so she couldn't give me an exact timeline on that. Also, that wasn't enough. We interviewed 6 engineering firms this week, or last week, actually. Those interviews took between an hour and a half and 2 hours each. We have a number of excellent candidates. Scoring will be done by, this week, by Chuck, by Brandon, by Carrie and myself, and we will be meeting on Thursday to compile those scores and have any discussions that we might need, and we should have a recommendation for council on next meeting. I had several meetings to discuss the job responsibilities that have now been spread out about the remaining staff. I want to say it was Ashley, Holly, Vance, and myself. We're very, very lucky to have Holly and Ashley and Vance to share the burden here. We've delegated those authorities, and we've each taken particular areas to be responsible for. And given the situation, I think it's going about as well as it can be expected. Okay. Several meetings with Tanner, the city attorney, this week. As you might imagine, given the news about the HR coordinator, and also to attempt to solidify the ethanol ordinance redraft that we talked about last time. I know Tanner's in trial this week, so I'm not sure how much more we can get done this week, but next week we'll certainly be going after
Are
that.
you referring to the alcohol ordinance?
Yes.
Okay. You said ethanol, so I was just double checking.
I got ETOH on here, that's what.
Okay, just double checking on that.
Yeah.
And Corky, I think we've got a lot of questions, myself included, about like what the background check process is with the concerns that were brought forward with the news reports.
Do others have questions about that? Okay. Well, yes, here's what the situation is. Our policy here in the city, and one that the police department also follows, is we have them sign consent forms to a background check. When the person is going to be employed by the city, a municipality, Minnesota only allows a Minnesota background check. So that was what was done. There was no disclosure of previous employment by the Human Resources Director, so we had no knowledge.
Sorry, you probably, so that's a Minnesota state
That's
statute.
a federal and state
So if the
regulation.
person lives in Arizona, say, we just do a background check in Minnesota?
If they don't disclose it,
If they don't
Minnesota,
disclose previous employment in Arizona. One of the things we're doing now is to revise our policy to make sure that in interview questions, not just relying on the application, to ask, have since a certain age, let's say, you been employed in any other jurisdictions?
I think the other question is it on the application whether or not they've been convicted of a misdemeanor or?
you can't ask
You
that
can't
question.
ask
Ask that question.
You can't ask that question?
Not in the
Cannot.
state of Minnesota.
Nope.
So then they didn't have to disclose then?
Not if they were, yeah.
So it's
Okay.
no longer permitted just to go by their last addresses that they resided at.
No, you have to be employed, you're doing a background check on employment.
Well, Angela, and you could have things like here, where they could live in Minnesota but work in North Dakota, and you wouldn't have caught that either way.
On my previous employment, you had to list the names of where your addresses were at. And then the background was done based on the last addresses that they resided at. So if I lived in, like, say, Nebraska, a town in Nebraska, part of the background check they would do on me would be for Nebraska, because I live there.
But you could take an example like, I work in North Dakota, but I live here. So if I didn't disclose that.
Right? Yeah.
So we are looking at that, and there will be a revision, at least in the follow-up questioning, if not on the actual application. But no, that was not disclosed whatsoever on the application, so we had no basis to check. It did come out in the course of the law enforcement investigation. Yeah. We did meet with one constituent who wants to do some volunteer work in Ampali Slough, and we're trying to effectuate that as best we can, because on public property, you can't be operating certain, what should we say, vehicles. We're working with that. Many conversations with Michelle at CLA during the week, and conversations with Patty at Baker Tilly. So it's busy 2 weeks.
Thank you, Corky.
Can I just ask with Baker Tilly, like where we need to be to hit it? I know you spoke about Clifton Larson, but Baker Tilly as well.
What about?
Like as far as the I know that you said that we're doing revised deadlines, but like right now, from what I'm seeing on here, like it's this coming week that we should have all the revisions of that interview. So is that not?
Well, that's my hope, that's my expectation. We're kind of dependent on Patty and what she's coming up with. I think one of the things we have to be a little flexible on is she's seeking out other candidates who haven't submitted. I just don't know what the deadline is on that. And she didn't know that on Friday. I called her today, but got no answer, left a message on what I was concerned about.
All right, thank you. Shane, anything to report? No updates tonight. Thank you. Brandon? Thank you. Greg?
Just a quick report on that bus garage. It's at excuse me, I gotta get different glasses. I gotta get my, but on East 4th Street, basically the old school bus garage. The owner has submitted, or excuse me, the owner's representative engineer has submitted a project complete, or a set of plans for the repair and update of the bus garage. And they also has submitted a permit request form, and I issued a permit for that reconstruction. So I think it referenced most of the items that I had shown up on the board. A couple of surprising items like the burnt out areas that were shown or on the pictures he did test it, and he verified or certified with his stamp, basically, that he's saying that they're structurally sound. So I'm okay as long as he's putting his stamp on that plan. So basically, that bus garage, in my opinion, is up to be repaired, and he's got 6 months to do so. So that's what we agreed upon. So that's all I have.
So the engineer has like given some very specific things that they need to have up to,
Yes, like all the columns that were taken out have to be replaced. The base has to be tested and or verified by the engineer that they're not rotting or having any substantial issues underground. And plus the bases have to be rebuilt with cement and some actually anchors to that pad. So a lot of good things.
good, good. Thanks, Greg.
Thanks, Greg.
Thank you.
Jake, anything?
Just an update here through the shop and the CSC and the pool. Park guys have been working on various projects. I don't know if he's noticed tonight, but as you walked into the building, we got some new flower pots right out front of City Hall there. We're gonna be making new ones too for down on Riverside. So they're working on some of those projects. Maintaining equipment as far as getting ready for mowing and things like that. So a lot of oil changes, filters, and hydraulic fluids, and tires and things like that. So maintaining and getting ready for summer. And then we have received one of our new mowers, one of the three. We received our zero-turn mower. So pretty excited about that. Come here in the next, hopefully, probably May. I was hoping we maybe start mowing, but we'll see. The Crookston Sports Center, just kind of a rundown of the season, I guess, if you want to call it. We had 205 youth hockey games this season. That included 5 youth hockey invitational tournaments and 3 youth hockey district tournaments. 43 high school boys and girls hockey games, and that includes the Section 8A tournament for the girls that we hosted. And we also had 12 UMC college hockey games, and then we had 9 UMC curling events, and then we also had 4 Canadian teams that came down on separate weekends and rented our facility. They kind of did a swing through North Dakota, and they called me and rented our ice as well too. So that's kind of a summary of the CSC for the season. We're kind of winding down now. We had the CYWA tournament. That's kind of our last hurrah of the year, I guess. So I do know they started at 5 o'clock till about 8 or 9 o'clock on Friday, and then they started again at 8 a.m. till about 8 o'clock on Saturday night. So it was a busy Friday evening and Saturday day. So, and then we have our high school athletics that are participating right now in our facility in the Gold Rink. So, so yeah, it's still kind of busy, and then the starting April 1st, the Blue Line Club takes over the rink. So they have some spring activities that they'll be running till about May 3rd, which is a Friday. Our pool, we did hire a new part-time lifeguard supervisor. She has worked for us before. Her name is Amanda Abrahamson. She started last Monday. Her role in this is kind of just a basic explanation is oversee the scheduling and the hiring of lifeguards, swim lessons, your pool activities, kind of et cetera. So kind of like the boots on the ground, day-to-day operations is what she's going to be working on. And then Andrea is helping her get settled in with just kind of everything that she's been doing the last couple months. So registration, we did open up registration for our travel baseball and softball early this year. Come mid-April, I need to know how many teams I'm going to have for scheduling purposes. So we opened up March 18th, and we're going to run till April 19th. And it looks like I'll have a meeting on April 24th. So we have that open. It will be, and then our registration for everything else that we offer opens up April 1st through May 10th. And then it's a $50 late fee after those deadlines. So that's all I got.
Has there, There's been discussions with, I'm not sure if it's the high school league about maybe Crookston hosting a boys sections, and is that done, or is that still going on?
So that was brought to my attention actually in February by Corky, and I'll let him
Yes,
explain some
there
of that.
has been discussions with the Section 8A representative. They really look at 2,000 capacity. We just really don't have that. Now, I talked with Chief Hellstab about configuring bleachers, any options we had, and we just really didn't get there. We're still going to talk with them. Todd Selk from, I think, Foston, he really would like it here. He loved the way the section girls went. Thought we did a really good job, compliments to the staff. And he said, this is a great facility, but there's enhanced
Do
capacity.
you know how many, do you have an idea what our attendance was for the girls?
I have not gotten a number for the girls. I did not. They haven't never
Just
given
wondering
me.
if it's close to that 2,000, or if it was over, or,
No, it's not even close. We just can't get there.
you know, I've
given
been
our-
hearing, it's been a long time since I've been to the section boys game, but I've been hearing that their attendance is going down and down quite a bit. So I mean, is 2,000 an arbitrary number that they put on it, or is that what they're,
I don't know the criteria they use for that, but I do know that we would be so centrally located, it's an absolute advantage to the section if it could be held here. I don't know if the section or the State High School League will make adjustments, but we're continuing to talk with Todd Selk from Foston about anything that he could do or we could do to see if we could get it here.
I've had a few people ask me, I don't think a lot of people know that you can rent out that green turf room. And people have been asking how they can do that. Is there a simple way?
The logic, I mean, the way we just do it now is you call
Call
us, you
Okay.
call the city, call Park and Rec. I'd like to get to a point with our system that we can schedule it, you know, online and things, but we're not at that point right now, so. And that'd be something I'd be talking to the marketing coordinator with too, so.
Is there something, like some pricing or something that's located somewhere?
Yep, currently on our website, on our city website. So,
one last question after you've been through a season now, or almost to the end of it, that all the work that we've done last summer and fall on our facilities, all that stuff worked well throughout the year?
yeah, it truly has, it truly has. There's some more looking in to do. I know we have to go look outside at our condenser unit, that circulates water and air through it. We're gonna do that this summer, get it looked at, clean it out and things like that.
Have you noticed any differences in different types of utilities that we have because of?
I have not noticed anything right now. I have not looked into that, but I can. Once the season ends and we're done with the compressors and things, when I was gonna, you know, take a look.
It'd be nice to know, because I
Yeah.
would like to think that we gained some stuff there, I think.
Yeah. All right, well, thank you.
Thanks, Jake. Gary, anything tonight? Okay, thank you. Start with Don tonight. Anything?
The chamber's getting reorganized now, and they'll be meeting in April to begin their tenure, once they get the board in place, so April will be, they're sending out the, excuse me, the memberships right now, and to see what they get in and so forth, so. More news to come later, so, thank you.
Thank you. Joe?
No report, Your Honor.
Lane?
No report, Your Honor.
Tim?
Same here, no report.
Thank you. Morgan?
No report.
Christie?
No report.
No report, all good.
Wow. I don't have much neither. Just a reminder, we have a EDA meeting tomorrow, 7 a.m. at Valley Tech. It's kind of nice not to see the snow.
You spoke too soon.
We got a long ways to go. Can get a lot of snow in April yet too, but think spring. Just a reminder, there will be no Ways and Means meeting tonight.